I really appreciate you sharing that rating system with me, the ESRB. That generated a lot of probably Aphrodite. Cleopatra is Greek. Yeah, I couldn't remember. I wasn't sure just like who it was. At any point, just to all the newcomers that came in, at any point, if any of you guys are wanting to join the conversation in real time, if you guys would like to call in, you guys can join our Discord server, and you can actually have a chat with me. So if you would like to share your conversation and be featured on this podcast live, I would love for you guys to call in using Discord, and please come on here and talk to me. You'll be given fair treatment as long as you're not being vitriol, as long as you're not doing examples of vitriolness, and you guys are being fair and you guys are being nice. I would love to hear your opinions and talk with y'all, and love to see you. Hi, Kanji. So I think for now, I think we've really covered the ways that over-sexualization has been treated in the media. So we've seen those examples of how women are treated as sexual objects, or overtly sexualized in the media. So we're gonna move on to our second topic, unless we have is it like exclusive, a desktop? So Discord is an app that you can download for your computer. You can get a desktop version of it that launches directly from your desktop. You can also use it in a browser function. You can also use it on your mobile to get if you want to get in. I don't want to play a sound. How long is that sound clip? Let's see what this is. It's that's a 3-minute long video. Prox, if you actually have a timestamp for it, I might be able to play it, but it's not timestamped. So if you timestamp that for me, I might be able to help you out, get that linked for you. Yeah, you can. There is a voice chat option on the Discord that allows you to join the conversation that way. So you can very literally join the conversation with me. I would love to hear from you guys in Discord, not just in chat, because I want to make this interactive. We're going to treat this kind of like a radio show. So, and I have my mods know what to do. They will be communicating with you what to expect when you call into Discord and stuff like that. Joe, thank you so much. I appreciate the compliment. And we're far from done. We have a lot more grounds to cover. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the way to until I find out for sure that we have a caller on the line and that wants to discuss something and share their thoughts and have a conversation. We're gonna move on to gender stereotyping. So we're gonna move on to another one of Anita Sarkeesian's videos, and this one is called "The Damsel in Distress," part 1. And this time, let me get to the timestamp here. Right at 11. Oh, not far enough. Okay, that's good. So let me get this link for you guys. Get the link. All right, let me get this link. A small loan of $1 million. So there's a link. Here's the video. But if you don't want to save the video for your own reference, we're gonna go ahead and shoot on over there. And we're gonna watch this now. So let's give it a listen. So I forgot to give you guys the timestamp. So the timestamp on this is gonna be 3 minutes in. 3:11. It goes from 3:11 and it ends at 3:38. So let's give it a listen.
Distress is a translation of the French demoiselle en détresse. Demoiselle simply means young lady, while détresse means roughly anxiety or despair caused by a sense of abandonment, helplessness, or danger. As a trope, the damsel in distress is a plot device in which a female character is placed in a perilous situation from which she cannot escape on her own and must be rescued by a male character, usually providing the core incentive or motivation for the protagonist's quest.
Okay, so what was Anita Sarkeesian talking about? She's specifically talking about a trope of a woman, and how they're displayed in a sexist way, in a gender stereotypical way. How does this occur? Okay, so she mentions that women are portrayed in a very very stereotypical way in gaming, within gaming, and let's take that further. She's specifically talking about gaming here. Let's talk about the media as a whole, not just in gaming. We can talk about books, we can talk about movies, and we can talk about games too, because there's so much more examples, and it's much more wide ranging than just simply video games. So what is the damsel in distress? According to her, and based on what she's saying when a woman is taken against her will, usually by means of kidnapping, she is abducted and restrained against her will and taken by an antagonistic force, be it human, typically a male, a mustache twirling male. Suppresses her against her will, kidnaps her, restrains her, and then it is the job of the hero to rescue her, reinforcing gender stereotypes that women are not as strong as men and need saving by a man's hand. So yes, Joe, she goes on to say that there are many, many, many examples of this. It started actually even before Mario, when you can see, if you want to see an example of King Kong, this giant ape captures a woman, takes her against her will, carries her around like an object. Oh, she's so pretty, pets her all the time, wants to keep her, and she's restrained and she's held by this giant ape, and her boyfriend, whoever his name is, must save her. You can see that example in like Tarzan and Jane. You can see like you said, Princess Peach and Mario. You can say Link and Zelda. You can say there is a host of different examples. Or Star Fox, the Star Fox games, Star Fox Legends, I think, or I can't remember the particular game. But she provides a lot of information in this video, and many, many, many different examples of how women are portrayed as a damsel in need of in distress, in need of a male hero to come save them. Again, reinforcing the stereotype that women are weak, or perceived as weak, and are captured and then restrained, and then it is our job as the male protagonist to further a male protagonist story and character development to save this female individual from her peril and then release her, thereby robbing her of any form of power, because of the fact that she's merely a victim in all of this. So it's saying Mary Jane and Spider-Man. Excellent example, a bike rider. Thank you so much for sharing that example. That is an example in comic books of Mary Jane and Spider-Man, a very real example of how that works. Some damsel in distress stories are written by women. Yeah, Ben, those what you're saying is totally true. Save those remarks for section 3. We're still on section 1. We're gonna go there's 3 sections. We're gonna be covering females, we're gonna be covering males, and then we're gonna talk about the critical analysis, and we're gonna be revisiting these issues. So save those that talk, because what you're saying is very true, and it's a discussion ringer. It's gonna generate a lot of discussion. That is gonna be in part 3 of the podcast tonight when we get down into section 3. So save that. That's a really good idea. That's a really good point. Same thing, Artie. That you gave another example of a lot of strong female characters, but right now we're just going to present arguments of what we were talking about, of sexism in the media. So what we're going to do is share examples of things that you guys can think of sexism, of the way that media might have been perpetuating gender stereotypes. So that's what I'm looking right now. I want us all to think about ways the media has perpetuated gender stereotypes in the media. I would say that based on some commercials, if you watch certain healthcare commercials, you'll see that a lot of times when they're recruiting people to come into a hospital or something, they'll show like let's say the Harrison, not Harrison, but Franciscan Health Centers is a hospital organization that owns a lot of the hospitals in my area of Washington. Where I live in Washington, Franciscan Health Care Systems owns nearly every hospital or clinic in the surrounding area. This goes all the way over to like in Poulsbo, all the way up to like Federal Way. Covers a large area of the Puget Sound. They kind of have a monopoly of the healthcare hospitals in this area, so to speak. In their commercials, you'll see oftentimes when they talk about coming in to visit your physician, get to know our great staff, our nursing staff. When they focus on like nursing staff, they'll show a lot of women portrayed in the nursing staff, saying that like maybe that women are that might be an example, maybe arguably that they're showing more women involved in a field of employment that it's just traditionally reserved for women, whereas they're providing care, nurturing services for individuals that are sick or infirmed, and that might be an example of how gender reinforcements are played out. The Spider-Man and Mary Jane was a very good example of, in comic books, of characters falling into gender stereotyping. The Smurfs, I'm sure that I'm sure you guys all know who the Smurfs are. That's kind of like gender stereotyping, would you say? That might fall under the lines of over sexualization, maybe borderline both over sexualization and the fact that it's kind of gender stereotyping. She's this lone woman in a whole tribe of men. Lois Lane in Superman is another excellent example of that. We're gonna be talking about that. We're gonna be talking about males. So that is a really good argument we're gonna talk about. I promise. Gremlin, this is a podcast that we're having. If you look at the stream title, we're having a podcast that deals with sexism in the media. It's good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Smurfette could be an example of an individual who's overly sexualized. She's a small girl. She wears a nice lithe dress that hangs at her body, and she's very charming to look at, or whatever. All the Smurfs, find that she's a viable option to procreate with, or whatever. Adam and Eve. You know what, Vince? Actually, that's a biblical reference of a gender stereotype. Maybe a woman seen as like a manipulator, someone who lies to a man, and then the man is fallen from grace and loses his cleanliness because he was deceived by this deceitful woman who is in fact manipulative and evil. When that's a great example, Vince. I think that's the most classic example of gender stereotyping that we might see based on your perception of that biblical story. That is a very real reason. If you're being timed out, it's for a reason. If you have a problem with being timed out, you need to talk to the moderator and not me. And I trust my mods to time out anybody, and I 100% support my mods. So if you're being timed out, there's a good reason you're being timed out. Yeah, we are, Gabby. This conversation is going good. So right now, I think we have that is a really good, some good examples of. Oh, Popeye. So we have Mario, Popeye, King Kong, Zelda, Adam and Eve, Lois Lane and Superman. We have Peter Parker, Gwen Stacy, or Mary Jane. Those are all really, really good examples of the way gender stereotypes can be portrayed negatively affect women. Yes, it's all orchestrated, Ben. Yes, of course. Okay, so yeah, Zelda always needs saving. Link. Yeah, Vinny. The Zelda. I think, did we save Zelda? I thought we did. So she goes on to say, and we're gonna move up in this same video. in this same video, she goes on to elaborate on this, phenomenon a little bit more. And we're gonna go to like now the timestamp. We're gonna